Aye.
And I'm gonna say, any nay? I wouldn't say no. So now we go to the agenda. Do I hear motion to accept?
I'll second it.
Okay. Everybody ready for a vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 I wonder with Robert's Rules of Order, can you combine those two together?
Shouldn't,
Okay,
unless you write them that way ahead of time.
all right. So it's over to you, Barry.
All right, thank you, Ann. So yeah, you guys have approved the agenda. Again, tonight's meeting is really going to focus on the public involvement plan. The document I sent out last Monday. So I guess I hope you had time to look that over and prepared questions if there's any. We can discuss that further. We're also going to talk just briefly about the timeline, Derek, and future meeting. But that feeds right into the public involvement plan because as you've seen, that has a detailed schedule of our next SAC meetings and topics. And then eventually just close and move on. Even though it looks like a small agenda today, there's going to be an opportunity for lots of discussion. As always, here are the contact lists, information, each member of the SAC. Lorenzo could not be here tonight. He actually just had a baby girl. So
right.
he ditched me and ditched us to enjoy time with his family. So we're all thinking of him. And then Jesse behind me, she wants to introduce herself real quick. He's the all-star of the team.
Hi, I'm Jessica Levy. I'm a planner of mine in Hampton, and I'm so grateful to be here with all of you.
Welcome.
She has helped me set all this up. So if anything goes wrong, no, she's great. So, again, as always, I think it's important to understand the region plan and what the region plan really is. And what we understand it as, it's a part of a greater system of other regions, of other plans that helps the county achieve the goals, vision, strategy outlined in Plan 20. So if you guys, this graphic will be very familiar at every meeting we have, just to kind of touch base and really reiterate the point that this is just one piece to the greater puzzle. And just remember too that this is an opportunity for public involvement, community outreach. We'll touch on that later. That is a key point of this process. Now, the SAC roles and responsibilities. We wanted to include this today because this is language taken directly from the charter that we've all signed and put into the Google Drive. As we move closer and closer to next month's meeting, where we're going to start talking about the public facilities and the economy topic, and start beginning to work on goals, policies, and strategies, I think it's important to remember the roles and responsibilities of the SAC, of who is an SAC. So one very important thing to do is really look at Plan 24 and read those goals, policies, strategies, and keep those in mind as we move forward in this process. There'll be opportunity to discuss those as well as discuss different aspects of the topic at hand. Again, one very key point of this process is community input. In order to really create a plan, we all really have to go out there, get input from our neighbors, our friends, our organizations, everybody that we work with. So this is an opportunity to really reiterate that point as well. And a third, work together with county staff as well as each other to really help provide that input of those goals, policies, and strategies. And then finally, help support the plan when we get to the point of PAB council hearings. With your guys' support and with the work you guys do through this process, we can really make this plan a part of the community and help you guys being there to support this plan, go through the adoption phase and really go along. One important aspect to keep in mind through this is the guiding principles that were in the charter. So as we're doing this, as we're having these discussions, as you're doing community outreach, try to keep these 5 things in the forefront of your mind. inclusivity, respect, health, environmental protection. With these building blocks for your outreach, and the goals of this plan, this is one thing that we should focus on to really make sure this plan can actually hit those topics, as well as make sure this is a community, region-wide plan. So I'm going to pass this to Ann. Ann wanted to have a conversation, just kind of a recap about ethics. So Ann, I will pass this back to you.
Okay. Well, I wanted to show you that these are the part of the Anne Arundel County Code that deals with ethics. And I'm not going to talk about that much. This is for employees of the county, legislators, county executive, and we do have an ethics commission, so there are questions you might have about things. But I was trying to think of where, if I was thinking myself, where would my conflicts of interest? That's where I want to talk about conflict of interest, because I think that's germane than some of the other ethical questions. And I was thinking probably from family. I had a family member who was really gung-ho to do a project somewhere and pushing me. Sure, that project, you know, is on the list, whatever. Friends, employers. Does anyone give me just a short example of what you think that conflict is? It doesn't involve money. That would be a problem. That money from stuff like for your participation.
If my mother was the CEO of a construction company and she was hoping I could encourage her company to be heard for a bid.
That's absolutely the case. And I think, you know, we all come from different neighborhoods. Part of this one thing, and we may get into discussions with people who have an opinion. You know, I really hope you guys don't do X. Well, as long as that person doesn't have a motive and doesn't come to every meeting and tell you the same thing over, I don't think that's a problem, because we should hear what people are thinking, saying. But we don't want bias. And we have sometimes bias quite aware. So that I just wanted to bring this up. And if you ever have a question about it, talk to Eric. If you have a real big question, you can go to the ethics. They will take complaints. See it with all the things that county executive is under all kinds of ethical restrictions. And that's why if you work for the county, you have some say in the county, which we don't. We're going to be advisory, but still, there may be people who think, oh, gee, I need to talk to that person and convince them that this thing should be done, this thing should be passed. So, does anybody have any questions? That's just a quick recap. Okay, okay, that's it. And if you ever have any more questions, bring it up in this meeting, because other people probably have it. So that's my brief on.
Well, I think that's really timely because the next project, or the project we're doing now, the outreach to get people's input as to what their wants and desires are. And then our obligation to bring them forth and report them accurately. So it kind of
Fits in.
wrapped up.
Well, we're here to represent the community, and you know, we have to be ourselves, but we get input. But just don't want to bring a bias to that in favor of somebody else or someone like you don't understand or haven't thought of. You're going to be lobbied at some point, and as long as people are not over the line, trying to convince you they're right and you have to follow what they say. And hopefully you won't all be lobbied. But I think there will be, and that's what I think. We could bring it up again. And
Or at least awareness bias.
yeah,
We all have
awareness. We
bias,
all do have
which
bias.
is why we were probably on a waiting.
Right, right. And what we don't want to do is forget the public purpose of this in view of somebody else's private motive, that they think this is what we ought to do because they're going to benefit. That's where the line is crossed. And they're not thinking of public benefit.
still probably would.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's what I was thinking. The neighbor comes up and tells you something, great. But if they keep telling you and they say, my brother-in-law wants to do X and I want, then you're like, you don't have to say you won't talk to them anymore, but you know that they have their own issue. Yeah, talk. Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I was thinking about that. Want to know what people want, what they think, but if they have their own personal motive that's distinguishable from the rest of the neighborhood, just for them, that's when.
The best way around that's to direct them to the site to register their
Yeah,
information.
you're right.
You not allowing on behalf of that person. The hub site.
That is a great segue, but before we go into that, there was a comment in the chat that if we can speak a little louder when we're talking, the microphone is kind of hard hearing a little bit. So, and then one thing too, if we want to go around the room real quick, just say your name so everyone knows who's in attendance tonight. So Ann, if you want to start.
Okay, I'm Ann Flickson, and I really appreciate having these name tags.
Ben Hilliard.
Holly Flack.
Steve Miller.
Emma Buckman.
Melissa Hagan.
Walter Ryder.
Tom Hampton.
Bo Breeden.
John Spencer.
Thank you, guys. And if there's no more conversation with ethics, what Bo just said a minute ago.
Can I just add, if you really want to you can remember before you start the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. As Bo was saying, the hub site, that's absolutely where we need to direct folks or everybody to go to for most of the information about the process. Again, tuning in here, these meetings really goes a long way as well. But on this website, as you all know, as many members of this room know, this is where all the information is living. It's evolving. I know there were a few questions about the hub site being evolving and when's new information become. We can touch on that a little bit. The next, every topical meeting, we are working, county staff, county long range planners, such as myself, we're working with other departments, work on collecting data relevant to the topic of the month. So next month, when we talk about the economy, public facilities, we are hopeful to have a new dashboard information on the website reflecting different data points of the economy and of public facilities. So as we move along throughout this process, go through the topic meetings, ideally we're going to have relevant data to those meetings on the hub site. And we are working on creating a new web page that links out to show all the data we're showing. So 1 month, even though next month the public facility data will be out there, and then we're going to talk about transportation in May. We may take the public facility data off and put the transportation data on, but that public facility data will always be accessible. So we're always going to keep it as transparent as possible, really show all the data that we collect, different departments, different on this hub. So again, as Bo was saying, this is going to be a place really where to direct the public who have any questions, who can sign up and provide feedback for whatever issues at their hand.
Eric.
Yeah, Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. Along with what Bo said too, if someone comes up to us and we direct them to that site, it's really not phone mobile friendly.
Okay.
If there's a way to work on that, because I know personally I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have my laptop out. I don't have computers. I just do everything on my phone, and it's really hard to navigate this site.
We got it. I will definitely bring that up with
And by the
our,
way, it's nice.
yes, nice to meet all of you guys. So I will definitely bring that up with our GIS team who helped to really create. Thank you. And if along the way, if there's ever an issue you guys encounter, please let us know. This is a new technology for us, so we know there's going to be some kinks that come on the way, but we want to make this as user friendly as possible. Because ideally, this is something that we will want to begin for other projects. Tom?
Yeah, Tom Hampton. There were like places on a map that you could post a comment, and who's reviewing those? Is anyone responding to those as we go through this? Are we responsible for any of that?
No, so right now it's just the collection period. So everyone now is able to put their own comments out there. And if individuals want to maybe reply on their own, that's fine. But we are working to collect all the data first, and then we will go through those comments and begin addressing them throughout the. Yeah.
So you're saying someone within the county organization will?
Yeah. So
right.
very similar to the green infrastructure plan, where that interactive map was. Those comments were addressed at a later point. That's the same process we're going to follow.
Okay.
But Eric, I just want to make sure that Steve Miller, that you can piggyback on someone's comment in there right now, right? So,
I believe so.
You can actually post a comment as you.
yeah, if you want to go
under
ahead
the
and
same thing,
and
yeah.
reinforce what somebody has said or add a different opinion to it, that you can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was more concerned that things might not sit for 3 months and never get responded. Some of them probably don't need responses, but the ones maybe do. I didn't know if it was going to get to a county department or.
Yeah, so one thing too is say there's a comment about traffic congestion, something along those lines. When we come up with the transportation related thing, anybody who wants, we can submit questions to the department, and we can help answer them as well to those topics.
Okay.
So there's multiple ways to address these comments. But these comments specifically, staff will collect them all, and we will begin addressing.
Okay.
And on that note, that's exactly what we're talking about next, the region plan feedback map. You guys are making my job too easy tonight. So yeah, be sure to check this out if you guys haven't. Please spread the word. We have a good amount of comments so far, but this screenshot is a couple of days old, so maybe more. But so far, we've been doing pretty well. It's only been up less than a month now, only about maybe 2 weeks or so. It's going to go through June 9th. And this is really a way to, like, as we were talking about a minute ago, to kind of have conversation on this. So if you go to a point that of a love it, but you see someone there that put it as a fix it, you guys can kind of have that little bit of back and forth and share your ideas and opinions and really kind of just have that conversation on this platform. So we are really help feed into the rest of the process throughout. And on that note too is we have the fact sheet. There are a few outside underneath the map. And one thing too, we do have physical maps at all the libraries in Region 4. One is here, just outside of these doors when you to your right. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to comment on it if you guys want. You're more than welcome to. And underneath those maps, we have the fact sheet. So, and I know we talked a little bit about this last week. You guys should have it. Spread this out. Feel free to send this to all your HOA organizations, any organization you're a part of, or your friends, family, whatever. This helps give a lot of basic information for the process. It talks, a little bit about how to get involved. Second page, this is a 2-page document. So this is very important for help people kind of get a basic understanding and learn more about the hubs. We are working on a FAQ type portion of the website. I'm not sure if I mentioned last meeting or not, but this is going to be, I know a lot of you guys have had some questions, but we're trying to do our best to give you guys the most correct information. So I do apologize if you think it takes a little longer to get back to you. We are working to get to you. I know I answered a bunch of John's questions, so we're going to be passing that out. And the FAQ will be on the hub site, and this will ideally help alleviate any questions that may arise that help with the overall process of. And we will provide more information as that gets closer and closer being published. Now, one thing too, for the month of April, we are having the SAC meeting, like I said a minute ago about the public facilities economy. That is an SAC workshop meeting. However, we are also having a community public forum. It's going to be on April 20th. There's going to be 2 time slots. One is during the day from 12 noon to about 2 p.m. And the other one's going to be at 6 p.m. to 8. It's going to give both the exact same information. We're going to have staff talk about a few different things, such as the purpose, process, and timeline of the overall region plan. But we're going to talk about everybody's favorite thing, comprehensive zoning. And then again, more community involvement. And there will be an opportunity for questions and answers from the public.
Eric, this is by Zoom, and
Correct.
by Zoom, so it's noon time and 6 p.m. I think this is really important for us to get out. Yeah. Now,
Absolutely. And I believe I sent you this flyer. On the flyer that I sent you electronically, where it says register here, click that, and it will direct you to the website to register. So you don't need to do a whole lot of clicking around. So be sure to pass that out as well. This will be included in our monthly newsletter. It'll probably go out within the next week or two for Region 4. And yeah, so like, as Ann was saying, this is very important. You guys had your kickoff on December 11th. And you guys, so the past couple meetings have kind of been a build up of that before we get really involved into different topical meetings. This is essentially, in my words, a kickoff for the public. This is an opportunity for the public to learn about the process, get involved, and learn about these topical meetings, as well as the important issues at hand. So please spread this out. Be sure to have hopefully a good representation. If there's any questions along the way, I know you guys have been chiming in a little bit, please let me know. I know I can talk fast at times, so I'm doing my best to try to slow it down. So just to recap the last meeting, I know we had a PARK exercise, virtual driving tour. I think we had a lot of good discussion. I think there was a lot of points that touched on, mixed use, open space, and other land use related comments and issues. So I really want to thank each and every one of you that really helped participate. We had great turnout from our SAC, we had good involvement from SAC, and I'm very thankful to have you guys as part of the committee I'm working with. So you guys really do make my job a lot easier by being so, for wanting to participate in the public process. So before we move on here, does anybody want to have any conversation about what things they may have learned or talked about the last meeting that they really liked? Anything stick out from the last meeting that you want to talk about?
I like that. Oh, sorry, this is Holly. I didn't mention the sidewalks, but I really like that aspect because I think a couple people brought up the sidewalks idea. Not that it would replace traffic, but that it would make things easier in some ways for nice days.
Thanks, Holly. Now, since to kind of get the ball rolling for tonight, one question we want to talk about is, what are you guys looking for most about the planning process? So just in general, you can be as general, broad, specific, or as specific as you like, but take a couple seconds and really think about it. What are you guys really looking forward to? I know kind of we've given you a lot of information, done a lot of background type of work. And now that we're about to start with the topical meetings, work with the goals, policy, strategy, what really excites you about the process? Is there a specific topic you like? Something you guys are looking forward to doing in the community? There's no wrong answer. So just take a couple seconds, really think about it, and then when you come up with your idea, let's share it out. Let's take a few minutes and just have like an open conversation. So a public comment is going to, if the chair would like, is to be reserved towards the end.
I want this plan, and I just hope that this plan really makes a difference to the community and that it's followed and that they'll be proud of it.
Well, this is Walter Ryder, and build on what Ann was saying. So in reviewing the background material that you provided, great. I think that it would be wonderful if this guiding document would be an effective tool. And what struck me when reading through that is it doesn't appear, with the and I forget the acronyms, all the acronyms, but but one kind of an aside, it's interesting that in tonight's documents with the accessible language department, you throw in an LRP. Now you did define it before you said it, but that's, just to be mindful that these terms of arts and the acronym are, sometimes I have to go back and go to my acronym dictionary. But it doesn't look, from those background documents, it doesn't look like there's a mechanism where the county can say, hey, this is only going to cost a couple of bucks. It's really easy. We're going to be able to finish a nice deliverable for everybody that's really popular, and it'll be a great result. Because of all of that stuff about, well, it's got to be in the development area, and it's got to be in spots where we've already pre-planned, et cetera, et cetera. So it just, I hope that that it does become an actual, a document that does have some teeth. But my concern is that there isn't a lot of power behind it. And with those sort of development areas already determined and these sewer plans already set out there, and these road plans swirling around, and then you throw on top of that the fact that a lot of the things would require either takings or restrictions on private property. So I guess it's, I'm kind of intimidated by the objective, but I really hope that we can improve the livability of the community, but not. Because when I'm in talking to my neighbors, there's a lot of, well, back before there was traffic, back before there was people, back before, that's not the way it is, or will be. So I know that's a rambler, but I'm kind of intimidated. But to Ann's point, I hope we can create something that will work and be achievable.
May I add on to this?
Stop me, please.
Tom Hampton. When we first started, I had a sense that maybe we were going to do these regular monthly meetings, and then maybe we would have subcommittee meetings where we got down into the nitty-gritty a little more, different subjects, but maybe even different groups would handle different subjects. Is that not what we're looking to do? Are we not going to, put a few people off on doing transportation and a few people off on doing something else? What's the vision? I realize this is maybe a committee that hasn't been in business for many years, but what are we really going to do in terms of the functionality of it?
So subcommittee is definitely an option, and that's something you guys can discuss as an SAC, because this is your SAC.
Okay.
So if you guys want subcommittees, that's something that can absolutely work. The reason, I guess we have this laid out, the PIP, the way the public development plan for the PIP laid out the way it is really so everybody will have access to the same information, right? And everybody can share off the same ideas, the same ideas for the goals, policy, strategies within one another. So all 15 of you guys and gals are going to be able to really work on that. Now, depending how you want to do the subcommittees, that can work out. But this is just something that I'll present to us for the first couple of days. We came back to you guys with this PIP to help make sure everything is spread across the table for everybody to see with the same option.
Okay, so it's not a structure that's already determined. We have the ability to sort of modify them forward as we sort of see fit.
Absolutely. One really good thing about these and how you guys operate as an SAC, there's always room. Most times, there's always room for flexibility. So I would recommend that if you do want the subcommittees, to form them sooner rather than later, especially as we're getting ready to begin topical meetings. But so yeah, there's opportunity for that as you guys see.
John Spencer here. I'm looking forward to hopefully coming to closure on the zoning map and the land use map. The last GDP was done in 2009. We're now rocketing into 2022. We've got another couple of years to go. So I think a lot of people are hanging, whether or not you like what they're proposing or not. I think we need to hope West sooner.
And this is Emma Buckman, and to back on what Walter was saying, I also have hope that we're going to be able to, I have hope that we'll be able to make real tangible change in the community and bring in the 5 principles that we're supposed to remember when we're in these meetings, bring that to the community as well. I also share Walter's concern about the task that is before us. And I also have to express concern that I liked what you said about teeth, because I think that's really important for a document like this, and also something that's going to be submitted to the county council that's supposed to represent the voices of a collective community. And to be completely frank, I have high expectations from the county council that they will take what is said in our report very seriously, because it is a representation of the community, and I'm nervous that that's not what will happen. So just to put that I'm hoping that this will be a truly collaborative effort where community voices are heard.
Steve Miller. I'm hoping that we'll take into consideration what was in the previous small area plan. We talked a little bit about that before, that we had a Pasadena plan, a Severna Park, and a Broadneck plan. And all those plans had anywhere from 90 to 150 recommendations. And the county, I think, is going to provide us those plans, as well as where we stood on actually completing all those recommendations. Some of them, a large number of them, are still ongoing. Some of them were not completed. And that provides perhaps a useful roadmap for it. We begin our own planning efforts here, is what still needs to be carried forward before we start adding a lot of new recommendations. And then I still think what Walter and others have said here is that I'm interested in seeing what constraints we have as a result of the GDP this time being put out first. Before it was a bottom-up approach, this time it's a top-down approach. And I am personally having some challenges as I take a look at all the strategies and policies that right now are in that plan, is how do we add on to even more than what's in that plan right now? Because it's also a substantial number.
I'm Holly Flack, and I'm actually kind of nerdy in that I'm looking forward to looking at the nitty-gritty of the different parcels of land and what they can do and what they shouldn't do, and what would be an optimal use for this and what would be a really bad idea for this piece of land and why. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to it. And especially, especially with John and his transportation background, it's amazing. So I'm really looking, and I don't know the rest of you as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing like your input and where you came from and your background and why you have that opinion. So I'm excited about that, like once we start getting into the meat of this.
This is Ben Hilliard. I'm most looking forward to this being finished. There's a large body of work accomplished in like 30 years. A lot of it has not been acted upon. It's not been carried forward. I have an opportunity to emphasize that with everything that's occurred since then, taking it to the current context, something really provide the roadmap. Next comes iterated along it.
I'm Melissa Hagan, and a lot of this is really new to me, but I've lived in different places and really different areas. So I guess I'm looking forward to learning a lot from this group and talking with people and making a positive difference.
This is Bo Breeden. So actually serving on the Broadneck Council, we actually started this process 5 years ago. And we got together with the Greater Severna Park Council, GAN, and the Arundel Preservation Council, and we're looking at the old 2009 and the 1999s and trying to figure out, and we had reports at the time of how much had been done and disappointingly what hadn't been done, including things like the Broadneck Trail that was proposed in 1997 and still hoping for phase 3, starting this spring maybe. but hoping to see that things actually get accomplished within our lifetimes. And there are challenges that come with that in terms of long-term budgeting and all, but understanding that this time around, they flipped it. As Steve mentioned, you had the GDP out there. What are we really doing? And I think if you haven't read the small area plans from the past, there a lot of insight as to what each of these 3 areas would wanted. And if we can piggyback on that, it may make the work easier for us and get to the point of actually cutting teeth and convincing the county council that this is the word, the mouth, the feedback from the public. Like, we need to pass this so it actually is enacted and becomes part of capital planning, which is the only way to make this actually happen at the end of the day. So the coordination of those things, I think, is going to be key to our success, how we feel about it after 24 or 36 months, hopefully not 36 months, but so.
I have a question, Eric, but I think everybody has spoken.
I believe so. Unless somebody's online, that's part of the group that hasn't spoken. I don't know who's there.
Yeah, Shayla here.
Okay, sure.
Hey, like you're all saying, I'm just looking forward to collaborating and working with everyone and just really kind of like looking into these plans with the hope that all of us, the feedback we're bringing from the communities, our collective groups, our small groups, the people we're interacting with, I'm just kind of going to be kind of curious how all of this comes together and seeing all those voices kind of collectively be heard. Because I feel like at the end of the day, we all have similar things that we want to see done, and just trying to see and imagine and kind of picture how all of this is going to come together, but also excited about it.
This is Ann. I just have a question for Eric. I got the inputs to Region 4 SAC planning. I mean, I not exactly what you said, but I got it. And it's very good, because I just think everybody else has the same document.
I see that I'm not.
Okay.
So I've sent you guys a lot of things. So I remember exactly what I sent you about. Yeah, okay.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to highlight what Bo said about the community that did go back to their small area plan. And there's a summary of, starting with Broadneck, SAP, Pasadena, Park, SAP. These are the main, small area plans that would be starting with it, and there's the and they're on our library, in our library.
Correct. They're on the hub site of the library, as well as obviously aacounty.org. And I'll go one further, and I can put them on the Google Drive for everybody to have easier access. I'll do that probably this evening or tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other comments or thoughts. Broadly, again, same slide you guys have seen before. Region plan schedule timeline. I promise in the next couple slides I will be digging in deeper, and so you guys' anticipation is no longer. But we are currently still on track to this timeline that we've seen 3 or 4 times now. Right. And then here as well. So we are still in phase 2. And one thing that is noteworthy, and this is the timeline that's on the hub site. You may notice it's a shade different than the timeline on the fact sheet. I just want to point out that the only thing different between those 2 timelines is the implementation section. The implementation section is just included on this timeline, which is also on the hub, but not the fact sheet. So there's no big difference. If you have a question about that, I can answer that. I just wanted everybody to be aware of the question.
Eric, can you back up one side, please? This is Steve Miller. I just want to make a point, and I mean, it may seem a little bit administrative, but we have 4 essential themes that are not only part of our charter, but it's also part of the structure of how the plan is going to be built. And that's the natural environment and the built environment, healthy communities, and also healthy economies. And within those, some of those other things that you have there, transportation and housing and so forth, they fit within those 4 themes. I would just suggest that we keep re-emphasizing the 4 themes so that we don't get this all confused, because one, it helps out to bin everything in a more manageable way for all of us, instead of looking like we're continuing to expand the list, you know, of different things that we're working.
That's a fair point. And one thing too, that like, as you just hit the nail on the head, these topics do fit into those categories. And I guess one thing that we haven't done is we broke it down a step further just for the topical. So when we begin talking, 'cause some of these may, the final plan of the region document that we bunch of city the county council, we'll have something very similar to Plan 24, how it is broken down into those 4 sections, right? So, but within those 4 sections, kind of went one step further with topical meetings and broke it down to different categories, just to kind of help understand what topic meetings are coming and what we're going to discuss for that.
I'm not saying it correctly yet. I would say that they're themed meetings, okay? And within the themes, you have topics.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see, so the meeting topic, so to speak, is the theme.
Okay.
And then anything else underneath that, which there will be quite a list in some cases, that falls into the theme.
Sure.
That keeps us bin the whole way as we're doing our planning effort, and it lines up with the chapters of the GDPs and those policies and strategies that are within those areas.
Correct. So yes, and, okay. So where you're coming from, I think that's what the end is going to look like. I think we took a different approach on our PIP to represent that, and we may not have illustrated that clearly, but those 4 themes will be the foundation of. Does that help with your concern?
I think you need to make a change to the current public improvement plan to reflect that. Either adding a paragraph that doesn't, you know, that's not in that plan right now that expresses that, or else in those blocks where you have those topics right now, put the themes and then add the topics underneath.
Yeah, we can so yes, we can absolutely add a paragraph to the PIP and tweak a few things. Just for the record, the public improvement plan that I sent out on Monday. This was to be an internal document for the SAC. And so the schedule will be shared. And you can share this document, but this is just kind of internal information to help each one of us understand the next couple of steps in the process. So yeah, but we can absolutely go back, I'll add a paragraph and figure a little bit better to represent for.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to take over the discussion, but it just as I took a look across all the different documents, there's not exact alignment right now with them. It keeps expanding. So
I think some alignment would help because we manage a lot of these. The paper. See how they fit together. Sounds good.
It helps to have a clear structure.
I've also received some feedback similar to that from just about the general layout of things.
Again, we're in phase 2. Talked on that a little bit. So I will walk through this so this is the point of tonight's topic, right? The public improvement plan, involvement plan, and we're gonna have an opportunity to discuss this. I can kind of walk you guys through if you think that'd be appropriate. So on the first page, first and foremost, it's most important to know that this document, this is not a set in stone document. There may be some adjustments along the way with how different maybe county outreach happened. Maybe we had a different maybe a feedback map doesn't get started right when SAC starts. This is a very good roadmap, but there may be a little turn here and there that that may not align perfectly with it. I just want to be clear. But for the most part, the schedule in here is how we are operating for this process. I'll go to that in a second. When you first look, it kind of talks about the purpose, gives you the goals, the guiding principles. They're very similar to the charter that you all have signed. Talk a little bit about the previous community input, Plan 2040 listening session, visioning session. All that is on there as well. And you can click those links that are embedded to see all that information. And then we talk, transportation, parks and rec, all those other departments right there. There's a list of key stakeholders. There's a link from the Office of Community Engagement and Constituent Services. Now this right here too, this is part of the responsibility of SAC to fill in these, right? So if there's an organization or a group that you think you have missed as county staff as a whole, let us know, one, but two, more importantly, get out there and let them know about the process. To keep them updated and let them know about these SAC, let them know about the hub site. Part of the SAC's responsibilities is to help supplement this PIP. And I think that is a very important understanding as we move throughout this process. That we may have the schedule map, county staff is doing outreach. But again, the SAC, one of the main responsibilities of the SAC, really spread the word, get people involved, have these discussions.
Eric, I'm sorry, John Spencer. I'm a little confused. What I'm envisioning is the county staff is going to be talking to their group, and then some of us are going to be talking to the exact same group. So how do we work through that? I'm thinking like the Greater Sonora Park 15 times.
So no, that's a very fair point. And one good thing that we have, I'm going to skip a bunch of slides, is this community tracking sheet. This is on the hub. This is on your Google Drive. This is for the SAC. Each one of you to help put your information, who you reach out to, who you talk to. You can talk about if it was how many people were there, what's the organization, when did you do it. So this way, and you can really we can all see the outreach that's going on at once. It's basic, almost live time. So when you put it in, John, I'm about to put something into, people see each other type as we're putting it in. So you know that the efforts that are going on there. So
I put stuff in earlier today.
perfect. Well, there you go.
Same.
So I know there were a few people that did it, so I appreciate you all guys doing that. But please, this is a very key issue, as John just pointed out. Please use this. So get back to the PIP, the timeline. As you can see, we've gone through the kickoff. We did the first questionnaire. We have the feedback maps that went live. And then we are March 28th, SAC meeting 3. We have the April 20th listed as a public forum. And from here on out, it goes through the different SAC meetings and different ongoing outreach efforts that county staff is going to be doing, including different questionnaires, types of apps, stuff like that. The meeting dates, the SAC meetings, this is the fourth Monday of every month. And as I said a minute ago, how this is just an anticipated plan. These dates can change depending the availability of you. If you guys see the July meeting and just if anybody's schedule, we can reschedule. This is not a set stone schedule, but this is just based on previous Google form responses about availability and the frequency of meeting. This is the schedule we came up. Really help make sure that it's most consistent and likely schedule. And this schedule, by the way, as I will know, this whole process is going to take between 24 and 36 months. At the end of this plan, at the end of this schedule, this is the 30-month mark, give or take. So we are ahead of schedule in some senses. If we need to talk about a few things a little longer, we have that built in as well. Well, I just wanted to be aware that this, from start to finish, about 30-month.
And will the meetings be here? All of them?
So we're looking into having meetings in different places. So this month, obviously, we're here. Next month, I went ahead and just reserved Broad Neck Library Room, just because those rooms go quick. So that's why we're at 6:30 today instead of 6. So I'm doing my best to schedule as fast as I can. And that's obviously a conversation that the SAC can have of where you guys want to meet. Ideally, though, I do think it's probably beneficial to have 2 or 3 locations and not go too big, just so we can kind of rotate between all those 3 in the different geographic areas. Make it kind of as fair as possible. For everyone. So the meetings, we were going to have the first 10 meetings are going to be the topical meeting. And the 10th topical meeting on September 26th, as of right now, that's going to discuss the public health, aging, and disability. October 24th, the October meeting, that's the visions. From there on, that's where we're going to start talking about goals, policies, strategy, and really begin to finalize that draft of and then we have built-in review times, the public as well as SAC members. Make sure that not only is the plan reviewed properly, but the different comprehensive zoning process is reviewed by the SAC as well as the public. There will be a period of time where we have the application for the zoning process, and we are going to be sure to advertise it all in advance as well. Just to make sure everybody is aware. So again, this is why it's very important for each of you to get the community outreach now, so they can everyone can sign up for updates, for the newsletter, sign up to the hub site. So when we start sending those mailers and the emails notification, putting on the hub site about the zoning process, everybody will be well informed. And then we'll wrap up and ideally have this plan adopted with the help of you all next October and November. Is there any questions about the schedule or anything?
Eric, it's Ann. I have a question. When I was looking at the groups that I might be able to, reach out to some of these communities, I realized that the county has have a disability. Was that group that dealt with the Department of Disability?
The ADA? Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there a way that they might be able to either help us or give us names of organizations? I mean, you don't want us to go down to Annapolis to get a disabled group. We need to get people in the area, right?
Correct. So there is the key stakeholder topic, or the key stakeholder portion of it, page 3, it says key stakeholders. There is that list. That list is a collective list of different organizations. I would recommend starting to look there first, and then going from there. If you know of an organization that may not have been on that list for whatever reason, let us know, and then let us know, and then do that outreach with them if they're on the list or not. So,
Are you talking about the list that starts with Chamber of Commerce?
No. So above, in that paragraph above, there is a link embedded in the word here, about the 3rd line down, the OCECS contacts list. Obviously, you can't click it here, but on the PDF that was sent out to you all,
What page are you on?
page 3. There's that link that will take you directly to a list of stakeholders.
Other organizations?
Yes. So I would recommend looking there first and then kind of branch. But again, your outreach efforts are your own.
Okay.
This is Ben Hilliard. On that list, is there, you guys have the email addresses for any of those groups?
I believe every contact has at least.
Okay, I didn't see it on there.
I don't see emails at all or phone numbers.
Yeah.
It's just the name title of contact, street address, city, and zip code.
And
They
then we- then we-
email gets
They
added.
deliberately
back to
not use
facilitate.
emails. When they pulled that list together,
Oh,
it's
really?
really a mailing. I was
Yeah.
conscious.
Part of the reason is in community associations, like the president switches every year.
Right.
Does their email change every year if they don't have it set up that way?
Yeah.
So,
Most
that's-
of these places have websites.
don't know, doesn't tell me.
Yeah, I know, okay.
And
Let me look into that.
Those
That's very
community
important.
organizations are not terribly active.
Eric, this is Walter again. Is there any piece of paper with a QR code? Because since everything is driving people to the website, is there a way that, and we're just on the sideline of the Green Hornets thing?
So, yeah, the outreach draft, this sheet has the QR code. It'll take you to, so this is page 1 of 2. I can only put the one on right now. But
But on page 2, there's the
correct,
thing that you could hit it with your phone. It'll take you to the
correct.
submit your comments, or do you just up? Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, here.
IT guy over here.
Yeah, paper, old guy.
Yeah.
And then the flyer down here as well, you can't see it because the bar's up, but there's, so if you want to print these flyers off and distribute them to people about the community forum, there's a QR code there as well. They'll take you directly, that'll take them directly to the registration of these.
Eric, this is Holly. About meeting places and meeting. Personally, I think that there is difficult. Like, hopefully it won't be in 2023, but right now, like, I won't go to bed on that time there. And so going to Broadneck is like an extra half an hour that my kids won't be going to bed. So, I mean, that's just me, but I can participate virtually if that's going to be an option. Or is the central enough for everyone, but also the public to take into account too? Will go at this, that one, or will they come because they know it's always here? So it might be a better offline discussion.
Well, that was actually going to be a point of topic later in the evening, and if you want to bring that up now.
Oh, let's go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, so, one, just from staff perspective, we were gonna move the locations to 2 or 3 of the same places, ideally libraries, with it being Spur Park and Broadneck. And then we were trying to find a third one more north, just to make sure it's fair for SAC members as well as the public to be able to attend. But we are anticipating having every meeting of the SAC be at least have some type of virtual. So,
That's
if,
good. And that's for the public and for members.
correct. So yeah. So I mean, it's up to you guys if you guys want to come here every month, or if you guys want to move around. That's a conversation.
What kind of facilities are there in Pasadena?
We have 2 libraries on Mount Road. And being built, supposed to be open according to the time, summer of 22.
Well,
So
I mean,
plan
what do other
late
people
next
think
year.
about? I do think it might be good for some of us to go to different places. But on the other hand, it's nice to move back. So I have a feeling on both sides. What if Steve?
This is Steve Miller. I think that it's a great idea for us to go around to these different locations because one, it's an opportunity to
See the
see.
places.
So yes,
Yes,
and the travel time, that we have to go at to get to the meetings. We're probably going to run into traffic and some of the complaints that people are going to be voicing, here to us in their comments. So plus just the fact that we all know, the closer that you are to the people that, are in the community,
Right.
easy it is for them to get there and participate.
Anybody else have a thought?
But I appreciate, Holly,
My thought
your
is,
challenge.
my thought is his thought. My thought is his thought.
Okay. Well, it would work with, well, you could do virtual.
I could do virtual, yeah. And like I said, hopefully they won't be like this forever. It'll hopefully be a phase.
Well, I do think moving around is better for the public. Maybe, some of us don't know where they're. We'll find out.
Steve's point, plus it looks better.
The optics, right, the optics.
Best move from monthly or quarterly? Every month.
Right now,
Yes,
right now I went ahead and
Grab
reserved
Michael's thing.
Broadneck for next month. Just to have it, to say, that, make sure we have a place to go.
The new father.
No, no,
Kids are-
that was Lorenzen. He was the
Oh,
county
he's
staffer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lorenzo's the
I
new
hope I'm
father.
not-
Okay, all right.
Don't put that on him. We don't want it.
That's why I can't tell what to do. So
It's worse if you're a woman.
So to Michael's point, just anticipating moving around from that perspective, I went ahead and reserved the Broadneck Library for next. And then I think in May, we're back here. But that was just grabbing it while I could, I wanted to be prepared for that. But now if that's a different thought of you guys, that's something we can absolutely, what do you, it depends, you guys want to do it monthly or quarterly or however?
This is bad. I think if travel is going to be an issue for anybody, I think monthly, otherwise we risk somebody being out for 3 months remote or 6 or 3 months. So I think rotating one.
Any other comments? What are we deciding?
And given that this is Bo, but given there's a virtual option, anybody can attend at any time,
Right, right.
especially if you have travel for business or family, you can also join in from afar. So it's better to get to all the communities and give the
Yeah.
option to more
Go ahead
public
with the
also.
ones you sort of outlined, and then in June, we'll be fine to go to the Pasadena Library.
I believe.
What about the one on Mountain Road?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the
Oh.
Mountain Road, but the other one, is Vero Beach. Built.
So I will continue to reserve as far in advance as I can. The library system only allows me to do it 60 days in advance. So I will, as I reserve rooms, I will let everybody know. And kind of,
There's also a police station.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Control the schedule for part of the schedule for the Eastern District Station. So if we need it, we can use it.
So as the county, you don't have any pull with the county libraries? You reserve ahead of time?
Different department.
Different cost center.
Different department.
Just remember how scared you were to turn in a late library book.
Earlier there was talk about subcommittee. How will that fit in? You decide to go to public. Does that have to be present? How exactly?
That have to be public, but
One of the ethics thing, something was said about a certain number of people. Once they meet, once there's a quorum, then you have to make it a public meeting.
correct.
So subcommittees become difficult depending on
So
how many
I
people are
think
in there.
it's really going to determine how this SAC creates those subcommittees. If it's a subcommittee of 3 people, probably not. If it's a subcommittee of 8 people, 10 people, whatever the board, yeah.
good point. So are we finished with, anybody else have anything else on time?
You need a motion to make it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Just take a vote on it.
Okay,
I make a motion that we, from now on, schedule monthly meetings that are hybrid and that are held at different locations within Region 4 as coordinated by the county.
I can second. Emma, second. Okay, all in,
Discussion. You always want to call for discussion.
all right, discussion vote. Discussion. Give me a Roberts.
Both you, no.
No, those-
So anybody gonna, okay, so
They're not poser rules.
are we ready for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah, you usually want to call for yay,
that's
nay,
a
or
third.
abstain.
I'll notice by the process.
Another meeting, you got it.
Okay,
All right, and just
What-
kind of. Go ahead.
Steve Miller, so I think I just got I got ahead of you. I was just wondering if you were gonna scroll up through this.
No, so
Not part of the meeting.
not part of
Okay,
it.
so
yeah.
let's go to the next one and then maybe I'll ask my question.
Okay, so this is just the list of the SAC meeting date. I just kind of shrunk this list, or I, consolidated the whole PIP to this list. This is essentially all the meetings that Ideally, every SAC member will attend through the end of this process.
So Steve Miller. So I'd like to make a recommendation that maybe that second one, transportation, which I think also includes land use, be moved up to the first thing that we discussed. And the reason for that is John, already pointed out, and had a lot of land use and zoning questions. I think that that's going to become a big subject for us down the road. And I think just having that foundation underneath us as we go forward, because it's going to affect every one of these other areas we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And transportation is like the number one issue that it plays.
Absolutely. And that we actually wanted transportation to be at the very front of this list. However, we were working with the Office of Transportation and their current efforts with Walk and Roll and Vision Zero. They couldn't make it work. So we had to work with our schedule to help make sure we really help give as much information as possible to meetings as important and valuable for everybody's time. So this helps with best coordination with other county departments moving forward. Now, if you see something towards the middle, maybe like housing and mixed use, public health, public environment, we can talk about that a little bit. But for the most part, the first two meetings have already been kind of put in motion. We've already reached out to all the departments regarding the economy and facilities. And they're going to be ready to present.
Okay, but Eric, I'm not even seeing land use up there, and I know that was on the public improvement plan.
Correct.
It's down at the bottom.
No, I'm saying it was up there towards the top. It was on
The
front end.
transportation and land use, so yes.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I didn't put the word land use back. No. But as land use as it relates to transportation. Or that top.
Okay, so it is up there.
Correct, yeah, so the
Okay.
transportation will be.
All right.
It's transportation and land.
And I'm sorry, Steve Miller, one more comment. So we talked about outreach to different groups. Will we also have representatives from county boards and commissions and nonprofits sitting in on those, or invited to be at those different meetings as well when the county does their presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we all know, these meetings are open to anybody who wants to attend. So we can absolutely do that and kind of be part of it.
Where are we now? We're back on this part. On.
Yeah, so if there's no more questions about the public involvement plan or the schedule. For the next one, I'm sure you guys have had work done. You guys are tired of me talking. So let's take a couple minutes and really think about what you guys are doing as your personal outreach. What I would like to see is break out to small little groups. Maybe talk to people you normally don't talk to, someone you don't know that well, and just kind of talk about these questions internally for a few minutes. And we're going to come back to the group and share and have this conversation.
What about, I don't know you all very well. You want to be an audience? And what are we supposed to do? Oh,
It's kind of hard to break out, man.
you should
Yeah,
we
start.
wanna
This
make it
guy has
easy
a
with
lot
us.
of outreach.
We got
Didn't
four
you
here.
put all those things?
A few things. yeah.
Well, tell us what you did. Did you get some ideas?
I'm usually a quiet person. I already talked to several people in the room. Do you want to have the discussion or you want to have the breakout?
If you guys want to get up and move around a little bit, kind of this can also be a break opportunity, but just make it a working break opportunity. Right? So
Okay, I
and
have
working
some water.
lunch.
I'm gonna drink some water while I listen to these people that I don't know very well. Seriously, you put a lot of those.
You're on the council.
I am.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you're
Tonight,
fine.
it's scheduled
Okay.
for you guys. We have the-
So what areas are you from?
I'm from Smyrna Park,
is
just
mostly
behind the giant,
Social.
Behind Giant, okay, like Ozark Forest.
Friends, parents.
farther in Whitehurst.
I don't get involved much in the official.
And I'm from the Meadows, which is like the southernmost part of Broadman.
On the
Every-
side.
everything-
Kind of
Meadows,
near
okay.
some naval academy.
Oh, really? Okay,
area.
that's not-
That's all.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
That's one of the parts of the region I don't know a lot about.
Well, my wife lived here when she was 9 years old. Born So racing, Charles.
I think that you have to fact find, fact, you can just send it to them, say, this is it, get more information, these are the meetings to attend, and get you out of the constant involvement aspect of it.
Move to Charles.
Make them notified.
Oh, right. So two kids, grown, moved out.
I took, well, I did different things with different groups.
Yeah.
I'm active in a lot of different organizations, but I took the
And-
park thing.
So
And from that, I took my list. When I first started meeting with people, I got absolutely nothing. It's kind of like, you know, the blank books. You start talking about the future or vision. People don't relate. Their automatic knee-jerk reaction is going to be, I wanted to say the same that it is now. The story I tell a lot of people is like, okay, when we got our first house, say we're section 10. Everybody in section 10 wanted to bring section 11. Everybody in 11 wanted to section 12, but that's as far as they could think as far. So I went ahead and I listed all the things. I started at park. I listed probably about 20, but it was important category. And then I started handing out the people, and then I got back. Just giving them ideas.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's, yeah, that's what I wrote in docs, either plan development, you know, there's one specific thing where people care about, or it's just so big, they don't have any.
Right. Yeah, and the latter is what I rated. Probably 90%.
God.
They were just answers to the park exercise. I just did it. I brainstormed. And then I got, as I got other input, I added a few things to the list, but I didn't for everybody. Because when I got to a certain point, it's like, I thought the focus was, you know, and what people thought about was not land use.
Yeah. I think that that is such a key part of it, is that, you know, at this point in our plan,
I used to write it.
I don't feel like we even know enough about what we're doing to engage effectively with folks and to stimulate discussion. But Growth Action Network is working on 2 videos. They've already done one on Region 2, and they're working on one for 4. And they did this.
Where are you in our region?
And so, you know, if I was to go into a forum, people might say that and also say,
Okay.
what they thought was, oh yeah, you know, this is, I recognize this, or boy, I didn't even know this before. Now you've got something, because it's much more.
I
than just
have,
a plan. You know,
been here
visuals
pretty
are a
much
big
my whole
deal,
life.
and it's better than a PowerPoint.
So that goes back to the 1950s and 60s. You know,
I'm the president of the Eastern District PCRC. Yep, so I host the meetings each month for the Police Community Relations Council for Eastern District. And so I just update them on what we're meeting on, and the resources, and then I send out the link basically to, here's the advisor, here's the hub site and whatnot, and I've done the same with the Broadneck Council, which I'm the vice president of, and the Cape St. Clair Improvement Association, which I'm the president of. And then at our quarterly meetings and board meetings, I update everybody on what we're doing, and we put it out through our Facebook and our email list, so it goes out to several hundred people on each occasion to.
Yeah, I can put it in a minute. I mean, every month.
Yeah.
It's something like the vertical council.
So
Having something.
you got married. You know, like,
So organized,
Oh,
well, I know. What do you think? It's a film or what? Think it's here for everybody?
and so we
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
like,
just trying to think what they.
well, he said, here, expecting.
They have a
I
lot.
think we love it.
They do have a lot of members. They have a lot of members, and that's why, like, generally, I might ask you about asking Green for a time, or if one of you want to have some time, like, to talk about it, because I have to take.
I ride the bike to my kids.
Someone else
You can
from
write the minutes
SAC.
before the meeting.
Right. One thing you can't do is.
I mean, I always talk about it before. I noticed that here too.
There just wasn't a lot of information. So, and there still isn't.
probably.
I was just at the Broadneck meeting, board meeting, and they said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I can't send this to you yet because it's not approved, but here's the meetings for the next year. Like, this is what we're gonna discuss. Like, it's not substantive information to talk to anybody about. And the fact flyer is probably the best thing that we have to have. You could email to your community and it would accomplish as much of being awareness
But otherwise, I live
as anything
here.
else at this
And
point in
even
time,
just
or
from, like,
the
5,
codes
7
or whatever
years
you
ago,
got.
I see, I think, like an exponential increase in, at least where, whenever I hear traffic about Arundel County, I always think of the intersection of that area in Smart Park where Bosques is here, and there's a fork off here that goes towards Pasadena, and Starbucks is right here. And it's, that to me is a very representative microcosm of traffic in Arundel County.
And people
Yeah.
Oh, God.
probably didn't say anything about it because they didn't get it.
Traveled it a lot. My daughter was
It's massive
a
topics.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
just
sorry,
the-
but we are different people.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fair.
No, it can be bad. You get trapped because there's only one way in and one way out. I don't know how that can be resolved.
Percent of the people are
I
actually
think it's
reading
just,
the
I
whole
mean,
thing and not
it might
just
totally
master
not
register.
developer real
It's not
estate
sort of cutting through
person
some
see it.
what's
I think it's just because we
That's
don't,
why the approach. to
we've
me is
encouraged, like, we built so many houses and built so many, and like I said, families live here. I suppose we want families to live here, of course, we want more community members, but we can't bring in more people outside of the county. That's not fair to us or them. It's not fair to welcome people to a community that's not diverse. I feel like that's sort of where we are right now, how many houses we build up, without the infrastructure to support them.
There's no doubt, in my mind anyway, that that's absolutely true.
We have, I live in Cape St. Clair, there's 8,000 people
The way
on
I
it or
see
whatever.
it.
And I live on Broadneck, I live on Broadneck Peninsula, it's another 6,000 that just goes out to everybody.
Tax basis was
It's all Facebook,
exempt
that's
from
all
having to
Facebook.
raise taxes for everybody else, so people aren't getting so mad. Instead, we're sitting in traffic and traffic is pollution. It really is. It's air pollution and ends up in the waterways and the rivers are not what they used to be.
Yeah, so this is a good point because I'm on Facebook,
West side of Baltimore.
minimal profile, and I get on and get off when it comes to anything in my community, and I won't put anything on there that I have to say, that I have to respond to, because I don't spend any time on social media. And so that is a limitation on, however we might engage. I can't.
But if you look down those.
It's probably the opposite.
And if it's like a hotels, when the
Is
next
there anyone that
meeting
feels
is.
comfortable doing it? Because I don't like the negative comments. Chatter can be nasty. So I don't feel comfortable doing it. But if there's someone here who would be willing, like.
What's your experience, Joe?
I mean, it's all over the map. I mean, I get tagged in everything down on the peninsula to solve it, people, just because of the number of boards I sit on and the fact that half of it happens in Cape St. Clair, just because of our size. One of every 5 people in the peninsula live in Cape St. Clair, so. But at the same, I mean, I have 3,000, 4,000 Facebook contacts. Like, it's not a problem to put it out there. It's just, I think it's easier for me to tell Cape St. Clair Improvement Association and Broadneck Council and them share it out to their groups personally, because then I'm not personally involved in the commentary, but.
It's the only way.
And I mean, are you on Twitter? Like, I don't do Twitter.
I use Twitter for business only.
I'm on all that, I just don't engage with it because I don't want to.
Right.
Right, I feel uncomfortable.
I get it.
I'll sit back, I'll laugh, I'll look at the idiots who are doing it, but I don't want to.
I use it to
There's
get out
something, I
information,
said, looking about
yeah,
pollution,
but
like, Arundel County
it's
is,
not to
I mean,
get
we're one
in,
of the primary stewards of
it's just
Bay,
simply,
and
it's
Turn the
pushing,
comments off.
pushing information and
a
then
lot, I mean,
back
the
off.
citizens here all
Maybe
care
someone
about
on the other side would be
and they all want the baby, but it's not,
Yeah, I'm fine.
there isn't a lot of support from government to like
Twitter. I don't
help us.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to do everything right, and that's, in my opinion, part of the point of government is to help us do
And there's different
everything,
channels.
and there's no, between all the cars, and I totally.
I mean,
lost
I
the
certainly
thought
be
that you
willing
said,
to back
but
you up.
maybe
Yeah.
go on,
No, I-
but,
Like, this is.
um,
No, I don't care.
but, yeah, it just seems like that's not, the like building up is outweighing the environment and our responsibilities to protecting the bay.
Ginger Reed.
One of the things somebody, Steve Miller,
Ginger Reed.
was part of
And
a
then
lot
Chatter
of work
kind
to
of like
understand
up
communities and like you said.
because that's why there was.
That's that private group, right? That one's a private group.
Yeah, the private.
I didn't have it.
Yeah.
Well, Laura,
There's no
yeah.
requirements
I didn't know that.
Ginger Reed.
for them to be maintained.
I mean, most people know
And
Chatter.
so you just
Yeah.
want
I mean, it's one thing just to share the flyer. It is what it is. It's not controversial information. We're trying to drive people again to the website, the hub site, the,
But Greater
for a
Sonoma
community
Park
association.
Council.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna share it.
A lot of it's the drip of them hearing.
Yeah.
You know, from coming from a lot of directions. Finally, one time, they might say, oh.
Now we're gonna find out that, oh, it's gonna cost you $10,000.
I think the email listing is where they get out.
It just is,
But still,
it's
unless I talk
probably
to
a-
people, I don't get
I guess,
feedback.
a
electronically.
ship that sailed.
It's just
To
not
a
a
certain
subject
extent,
that people
but
can relate
But
to.
I think we could
I
say
think
that
it'd be
about a lot
interesting to
of,
get some
sidewalks
to the website to see the traffic that comes in.
Oh, yeah.
At various times.
Since they're here, they're like active.
the beautiful area has the development. They, go back.
no, there are a lot of poor decisions.
Yeah.
And,
I'll put it in their constituent affairs letter. That's what everything around.
I guess a lot of
That'll
community
work.
associations have.
And I think,
Yeah, but
Traffic.
it's just in here, like all over the place. It's office of county executives, constituent affairs.
I mean, if we want to get creative and, you know, like engage younger people, someone could write Instagram or TikTok.
I did do a little bit of outreach and because of my job, I'm a member of a
But I mean, that's
and so
something like
I,
Chatter, you're gonna get a
part of the
cross
problem is that some of
section.
them operate
Well,
other
that's where the
places in
value
the
is.
county, so I have to be
You're
careful.
not targeting any group, you know, it's 9,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll, if it's a place where it overlaps with Region 4, I'll say,
You got
if
entire
you're
spectrum
in
of
high care, or if you, I'm also doing for Annapolis, is they go to Annapolis, they have their own region that's set up. So
Oh, no, no,
several, community organizations. And I'm planning on touching base with a youth, youth called Good Trouble, who I think could be really helpful in disseminating information to
I mean, I
the high
could do the
school.
board of Greater Riverside Council, but if you think it would be nice if there was someone else who wanted to do it. Or I could talk to Maureen and see if there's someone else in the city, like, because we do have a couple of like. Just have it live.
I didn't see that. Ask me how.
Oh.
You know, when I test my certification.
And I think
Okay,
more
thanks,
people
fellas.
know better.
So, yeah, I take it on the lot. Ask my guys there.
Oh, okay.
So,
What do you think about?
Place where you got-
Yeah, I know. They're all-
That I've never understood. Yeah, I don't do use it. Like I can't create the content or conceive of it. I don't understand.
What about you, Bo? What do you think about like creating like a little institute?
I was just
Talking
thinking,
about.
I've been to the council building, to the rental center several times.
probably a lot like Ben, I'm a numbers guy and I'm not a marketing genius, but, I mean, I know it works for certain topics. Again, I guess if GAN's already doing it, I think if we piggyback on their effort. But just like I just spoke to both gentlemen there, they come because they get the emails from the long range plans committee. They don't see it on Facebook, they're not seeing it anywhere else. They literally signed up 2 years ago to learn about this process, and that's why they're here. So if they're sending it, no, this guy's right here. The other two guys, you told them about it. So it's either gonna be word of mouth or just posting the information that's there and hope somebody signs up. Like, I don't think you have to go into a whole lot of effort of more than sharing with groups and having them put it on the email list and send it out to people. But as long as people get those signed back up with long range planning, then.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what
Thank you. We want to hi.
Nice,
Yes. That's the Sunny Hollister, love, that's to your right, and then right up. So basically, this is Sunny, I'm her staff member, she lives in your region, I don't, but basically, when I drop her off.
I mean, it is, you know, to my daughter and her husband,
I brought that black.
that's all they
you know.
Or the QR
The
code.
QR code, well, I mean, I'm just saying that they are tech savvy and that's how they live their
My
lives. I mean,
neighborhood over
it
by
may be true for you
we have
too,
domes,
but
and it's only where
it's
the
not true for me, you see.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, I
domes
think part of,
on
I mean, that's
every
sort of,
curbside,
I think
but I know
other
you have
people,
trouble
well, that's what I was
from
basically see from the point of
feeling
like
when the street
organizing
starts and
things
when
better is
it
because
ends.
I,
So it's just
even when I'm
the
trying to
thing,
explain it to,
but
like, I put it
I
on
know
my
you guys are
personal
all getting
Facebook
stuff.
and
then
I
the
had people
disability
say like, can you explain this more? And I was like,
She's not gonna be here. She's gonna be on
hi.
the
It's,
Instagram.
it's,
She's gonna be
and
very-
so even like, and even then going to the website, it's just seems to be like lost and I don't think it's their fault.
Yeah. 'cause
Well,
it'd be
my
really-
neighborhood,
She's within walking
until
distance
about
of Arundel Library.
6
It'd be
months
great
ago,
if she could, you know, just
did not have a
exercise.
Facebook. And the only reason we do now is because some young folks moved into the neighborhood. Right? And it's just, yeah. So there are a lot of neighborhoods out there who might not,
Where is she?
might not know the way we like.
Yeah, but there's sides.
Especially in maybe Pasadena, because I know young people live there.
Yeah, but it would
I
just
don't
be
know.
great for her to be able to do something
That's where my
independently
uncle
without
The passage.
outside of her home, because like. on the
I've never
weekends,
heard that
she's kind
before,
of stuck inside
but
and
It
you
might
know,
just be something.
I grew up right in the suburban Pasadena area, right between the two, and it's just, it all depends too
We
on
have a walking.
like what part of Pasadena you're in. I mean,
It's got a map.
for elementary school, I know Pasadena, Gibson Island is right off the edge of Pasadena, right? And so it's basically rich, but then you've got parts of Pasadena that I was called for, but you know, they're certainly on a lower economic scale compared to much of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of hoping is that there, a lot of people have lived the community life here, they're comfortable here, and the community is neat. Not everyone gets to share that.
Okay.
And that's partially why I was drawn to this, because I wanted to elevate those people too. And it's also why I felt like say this earlier.
I mean, along Mountain Road, like Green Haven area, much behind that. Probably a lot of those homes are 1,000 square feet or less. And their lot sizes are really small. It's a very different world than much of.
You have someone for like Arnold.
Yeah, I have to
Oh,
go.
no, absolutely.
I just
One
took
thing
it.
that I think really needs to be considered as a group. Moving forward, there are still those locations in our region. Anyway. Well, you know, that's just a lot of the ways out. I mean, right on my road.
John, I thought Eric did a good job.
It's happened quite a bit because
It's gonna be very chats trying to translate this
built the
project
first house
process
with his own
into
two
something
hands, right?
that we can all
720 square feet. And I lived in it much of my life, and even when my mother died, we moved back into that house for about 5 or 6 years. So, but it is happening.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna kind of begin to wrap this up. Sorry about the projector. It kind
It's a
of went
time.
off for a second. So is there anything anybody want to share really quick? I know we're getting kind of late. It's already 8 o'clock. Is there anything anybody wants to share of anything they just discussed in the group?
I have a question. Just thought to talk about. Is there a way you can tell us out of the website for traffic as far as tell to some degree what our outreach efforts are? What's
That is a question I, as county staff, with other colleagues in the front too. So we are trying to figure out how to see where who uses the flyer to get to our website. Trying to figure that out. So, yeah, we're trying. So.
This is Emma Bugman. I'm sort of plugging my own idea here that was discussed, but I just remembered, I've been to the county council, the Arundel Center several times, and the area of the lobby when like citizens would come in to give testimony, I think that would be a really good space to put like something explanatory about the region plans and the SACs, and because I haven't seen, it's right now, it's pretty blank, and I think there's space to do that.
And what about the library?
There's one right out here.
Yeah.
They have the whole display right there.
They do.
Yeah.
So what's out here to the, when you leave to the right, we did our best to mimic that in every region library, every library in the region.
I mean, you just stimulated me. I'm sorry. Stimulated my brain. But I'm in fairly regular contact with my county council. And so I know there's somebody here that's associated with one, and they all have their mailing. I know when I work National Night Out or whatever, you could go through several councils ever and state legislators, and they have mailing lists, they total 115,000.
And some of them write columns in Burn Park Voice, and basket, put them.
There you go, there's another.
Yeah.
No more Pasadena.
You remember?
It's gone?
It's
Really?
gone. I haven't seen it for a while.
Yeah. Huh.
So where are we then on our agenda?
If there's any more things they want to share, anybody wants to share anything? We only have a couple slides left. We've actually already talked about most of them.
All right, I just wanted to, this is Emma. I wanted to throw out the Spring Park Voice. There are also independent media outlets that run like online. They just have online things. They might be worth investigating and reaching out to see if they want to come to.
I'm sorry, I have to go, but I'm going to zoom in. So, hi everyone. Bye everyone. I will
Bye.
see you online in
Yeah.
a minute.
Be careful.
So, thank you.
Speak to Emma's point, is anyone here like, good at it, right? I can use that. I'm just thinking, we wrote something. I know you, the county puts the newsletter, right? I think I received different newsletters. We had somebody that was gifted at writing. Maybe it's a monthly or quarterly thing, an update, and we can blast it out at all these different places. They can post it if they wanted to.
I write, this is Emma, I write.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, Emma, you really?
yeah, I
Oh,
can.
my. And you know some of these independent.
Yeah, I should clarify when I say I write. I mean, I do write for my job. It is a component of my job, but I'm not like an author or anything.
Not yet, but you might be, right?
A specialist, right?
Well, I think it's good because we're finding out. Right, strength. But we have more slides.
Yeah, again, touched on this earlier. Please use this. It's a really good way to make sure we're not annoying too, right? We're annoying, sorry. We're not annoying the same
Yeah.
people multiple times.
Yeah.
So please use this and we can make sure we get it right. So basically, to kind of wrap it up here, feedback map, we talked about live through June 9th. Community forum, April 20th, the 2 sessions we talked about. It's a virtual format, a Q&A session. We will talk about different. And then the next meeting day, April 25th, it's going to be our first topical meeting, public facilities and the economy. Broadneck Library at 6 p.m. So no more 6:30, hopefully ever again. Here 6 to 8, usable time. And then I will, whenever I get the next reservation, I will be sure to let you guys know. Right now, the Broadneck Library next month, and as of now, May, right back here, that can be changed if you guys, I just wanted to. And then finally, if there's any questions from anybody, in attendance online or anybody here, there's the email addresses. Feel free to email us and help you as best we can. And that is it. So thank you all for coming.
I'd like to say something. I just think we should recognize how much care. I mean, I found out by calling several times, all these things. It's really a pleasure to work with you. Thank you for all the effort.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Just you're great, Skeleton. But we have other regions that we're all working really well together. But as you all know, and I appreciate you guys being patient with us. I know this process took a long time, but we're really about to get into it. It's definitely a effort from all of us. So before we go, we do need a motion.
What about comments from the floor? Do we want to open it off to anybody that attended?
I talked to them, they said they didn't have anything.
Okay, I just make sure.
Where did you come from? Just to know where you're, I mean, what area? Oh, yeah. Word out. You know what it- do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, John.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Objections and abstentions.
Any days?
Nays?
Thank you,
Well,
guys.
thank you guys for coming. Thank you.
And, real quick. Have you been doing anything with MRA? So they're having.
Well, I haven't been doing anything in terms of this. I've been representing.
That's what I was
it.
saying. Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead
Okay, yeah,
and do
you
that
please do
because,
that.
yeah.
See you, Ray.
Hey, but say those things. Come on.
We get their names.
I saw you have made a couple of entries there on the map.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I relapsed.
They've been